Hello, this is my video submission for my foreign market opportunity assessment. So, my service is a comprehensive plan that uses government spending and incentives towards state-sanctioned services catered to reducing food deserts around the United States. This is a holistic and comprehensive approach which focuses on empowering or incentivizing food providers or organizations or independent business owners to make products or food services to reduce food deserts across the country. So, a brief explanation: food deserts are geographical areas where access to affordable, healthy food options is limited or non-existent because grocery stores are too far away or due to low income access. Food deserts tend to be areas populated by poor and working class Americans. Like I said, there's very little incentives because the money is just not there as it would be for a suburban area. So the populations of these communities are disproportionately minorities. So the first question: list and explain two market potentials for your social product or service in that country. I'm just going to briefly run through the statements. I'm not really going to explain it. I just don't want this video to be overly long. So one would be tap into a previously untapped market within these communities that are classified as food deserts. And two, creating jobs that allow Americans and small business owners to reduce food deserts while being paid to do so, especially for those within the communities it is benefiting. So second, list and explain two ways or approaches that you can successfully compete in that country with your product or service. One, government legislations that grant incentives to food providers if they expand access to healthy foods within community classified as food deserts. The creations of new and permanent food banks within community classifies has food deserts, or introduction of temporary food access merchants like mobile markets, farmers markets, and even mobile food banks. Two, tax grants towards businesses or food providers who can obtain a special certifications that show that they service low access communities or community classified as food deserts. Three, list and explain two legal and or political environmental concerns that your social product or service needs to be aware of in that country. One, in order to fund this, the government spending will have to be set aside for this venture. It's more attainable if we attempt to get government funding at the federal level than at individual state level across the U.S. So two, legislations will have to be passed in the form of a bill or an act that will make this a federally backed plan, and that could take, campaigning and time. Four, list and explain two social cultural influences that may impact or influence your social product or service. One, creating partnerships with already existing organizations that focuses on reducing food insecurity or helping low-income communities, like Feeding America and the National Grocers Association. Two, creating an act or a bill that extends the USDA food waivers for low-income students in low-income neighborhoods. An extension of that would be expanding the USDA approved list of food items that people on food stamps, beneficiaries of food stamps, can use to buy foods more readily available in grocery stores. Five, list and explain two costs associated with your social product or service. One, building more grocery stores within low-income communities may not solve the problem if the residents of these communities cannot afford the prices of the grocery stores. Two, lower economic incentive for grocery chains to want to operate out of these low-income neighborhoods. Obviously, they have more money and profit to be made within suburban area where there is higher income being brought in and more income to spend. Six, list and explain two benefits you will attain from introducing your product or service to the country. I base this on the country as a whole and not just me. Reducing food insecurity within the U.S. it's the main goal. Millions of Americans live in food deserts where access to healthy and nutritious food is difficult, even impossible. They have to resort to convenience stores and fast food restaurants, which is exacerbating the issue of health and obesity in the country. 2, exposing low-income communities to the same food buying options as high-income or middle-income communities will serve to reduce nutritional inequity in the country. 7, list and explain 2 risks you may encounter while introducing your social product or service in that country. 1, there will obviously be backlash, there will be setbacks in trying to pursue this at the federal level. Bipartisanship within the government means that some will back it and others won't. Trying to get full government support to make this a federally backed plan will be difficult and will be a risk, rather than trying to maybe tackle it at the state level. 2, garnering the social and cultural support for this plan will be difficult. A lot of people don't really care about issues that don't personally affect them. So getting people to care about, this issue that's affecting millions of other people, maybe not within their community, but, very close by in another state or something like that, will be a risk, but it will be a risk that's important to take, because while we strive to incentivize, people within their communities or food providers to help reduce this crisis, it would also be very beneficial if we were to put this out online and on social media and try to, inspire regular Americans to donate food to the local community shelters or local food banks to try to, increase access that way as well. 8, list and explain two-way entry of introducing your social product or service into the country. I said 1, through a bill or an act that sources the authorization of the tax cuts or tax credits and the overall monitoring of the food deserts to the USDA after the initial passing. 2, through a package or program at each state level where a preferred selected method can be utilized based on what that state needs in relation to the severity of its food desert problems. 9, list and explain how you're going to get human capital to operate your social product or service. I said by partnering with or incentivizing already established companies or food providers with employed personnel. So we're going to make use of their employees and their already established resources. 2, by incentivizing trained and certified personnel to conduct special services such as the renovations on existing grocery stores or the operation management of temporary merchants, food services like mobile markets. So the idea of this is to provide the money to people who are already interested, or we can make interested in this issue in ways that they can solve it. So we're going to be utilizing already established organizations and companies with employed personnel. 10, decide after you have completed 1 through 9 if entering this country with your social product or service is a win-win. Obviously, it's a win-win. I live in America. This is an issue that affects me and people that I know. I said the benefits of a governmental comprehensive plan to attack food desert across the country is well documented. It reduces food insecurity, reduces hunger, reduces food inequity across socioeconomic classes. This will be a win for me because, as I just mentioned, food desert is a well-documented crisis in the U.S. and its consequences are felt across many communities. And I have been personally affected by this, and I know people that have been personally affected by this as well. And 2, this is an emotion-led passion project. There is no economic incentive personally for me, if I were speaking in terms of this is something I was actually going to be pursuing. The results, what I am chasing after is a healthier, more nutritious, conscious society with more care and consideration towards their diets and what they put into their body, as well as ending the very pervasive epidemic of obesity in the US, which has lifelong health problems that can be passed on to generations as preconditions health issues. So, and that's something that's very important to me as a person growing up with diabetes and all the issue that has brought into my life. So yeah, the document does go further into details about all of these issues.